It feels like every single day there's a new headline about AI and how it's going to completely change the way we work. It's a lot. But today, we're going to cut through all that noise and focus on one of the biggest players out there, one that's plugging right into the tools we already use, Microsoft Copilot. So is it just hype or is this really the future? Okay, let's get into it. Let me just start by asking you a question. What would you do if you got 2 extra work days every single month? I mean, that's 16 hours. Think about it. You could use that for deep work, maybe learn something new, or hey, maybe just leave the office on time for once. Sounds a little too good to be true, right? Well, according to a pretty big case study, that incredible promise is actually within our grasp. But, and this is a big but, getting those kinds of results isn't automatic. It means we have to think differently about how we work. And as you're about to see, there's a lot more going on here than just flipping on a new feature. To really wrap our heads around Copilot's impact, we've got to look at where it came from. Its journey from a public web experiment to a core business tool has been, well, surprisingly fast. I mean, just look at this timeline. The speed is just breakneck. It started its life as Bing Chat in early 2023. Before the year was even over, boom, it's rebranded. A couple months after that, it's literally getting its own dedicated key on new keyboards. This isn't a slow rollout. This is an absolute explosion onto the scene. So what is it exactly? Well, the most important word to remember here is suite. See, Copilot isn't just one thing. It's a whole collection of AI assistants that are woven directly into the programs most of us use every day. Word, Excel, Outlook, Teams. They're all designed to be your partner, helping you get stuff done faster. All right, let's talk about the core claim, productivity. Let's be honest, we're all kind of drowning in digital busy work. Copilot's big promise is to be the life raft. So let's see what the data has to say. Does this sound familiar to you? Yeah, you're definitely not alone. Research shows that almost 2/3 of us feel completely stretched thin, like we just don't have the time or the energy to do our actual jobs. And that is the exact problem Copilot is supposed to solve. And now for the big number. In a 4-month study of just one employee, this is how much time they got back by using Copilot. 868 minutes. So what does that number even mean in the real world? Well, it breaks down to almost 14 hours saved over those 4 months. That's nearly 2 full 8-hour workdays that this person got back. The real question is, where did all that time come from? Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Look at where the time savings came from. That huge slice right there, Teams meetings. Over half the time saved came from just one thing, asking Copilot to generate meeting summaries so they didn't have to rewatch recordings. I mean, that is a massive pain point for so many people. And this statistic is really telling. 77% of the early users said that once they started using Copilot, they did not want to go back. That tells you that for the people who really get into it, it's not just a novelty, it becomes essential. Okay, so it saves time. We get it. But what happens when you ask Copilot to summarize a really sensitive company document? Where does that data actually go? This is, hands down, one of the biggest questions for any business. So let's try to peek inside that black box. It really isn't magic, it's just a process. You send a prompt, a question or a command. Copilot then grounds it, which is a fancy way of saying it gathers up the right context. That whole package gets sent to the AI model, it generates a response, and then before it ever gets back to you, it goes through a series of safety checks. Okay, and this part right here is absolutely critical to understand. The free version of Copilot, the one anyone can use, it pulls its information from the public internet. But Copilot for Microsoft 365, the one for businesses, it uses your company's data, and it does it inside a secure wall called the Microsoft 365 Service Boundary. So your internal stuff isn't being sent out to train some public AI model. So the promise is huge, and the tech seems pretty secure. But let's be real. Integrating a tool this powerful is never, ever simple. There are always hidden costs and challenges that pop up. And those challenges usually fall into a few big buckets. You've got the human element, just getting people to trust and actually use a new tool. Then there are the big technical hurdles of security and integration. And of course, the practical day-to-day questions about accuracy and using it ethically. Every single company has to figure out a way to clear these hurdles. And this data really shines a light on that people problem. Over half of employees admit they struggle to adopt new technology. But what's even more concerning is that almost two-thirds say they use their personal AI tools for work, which, yeah, that completely bypasses all the corporate security measures. Now, here's the official line from Microsoft. They're very clear on this. They say the enterprise version has enterprise-grade security, and that your data never leaves your company's secure digital bubble, what they call your tenant. But then you have the reality of how people feel about it. This quote from a Reddit user just captures that fear perfectly. Even with all the corporate promises, there's this deep-seated worry that putting all this powerful data analysis in one place just creates a really, really tempting target for hackers. So how do you bridge that gap between the massive promise and the very real peril? Well, it's not about just buying the software. It's about having a smart, strategic plan for how you roll it out. Here's a pretty clear framework for doing it right. First, figure out where you actually need AI. Don't just sprinkle it everywhere. Second, create clear rules of the road for how to use it ethically and protect data. Third, and this is so important, provide actual professional training. And last, find the people in your company who are excited about it and make them AI champions to help everyone else get on board. And this really gets to the heart of it all. The real competitive advantage isn't going to come from just buying an AI license. It's going to come from the hard work of integrating it thoughtfully. Making policies, training your people, and building a culture that knows how to use these new tools. That's the real game changer. Which brings us to our final big question. Is Copilot this amazing tool that's going to free us all from boring work? Or is it just another complicated system we have to learn with a whole new set of risks and rules? Well, it seems like the answer to that really depends on how we decide to use it.